Hey guys, how are you? Welcome into a Thursday morning edition of the Daily Juice Podcast with me, Matt Perrault, here on BettingPros at Sports Talk Matt on Twitter. To follow me at BettingPros, to follow BettingPros. This podcast always being brought to you by BetMGM. You guys can go to BetMGM.com where it's available, not in Nevada. $10 bet, you win $150. Regardless, win or lose, sign up with that promo code JUICE150. All right, so a 1-2 day. Down another 0.6 units, and the slide continues. So I'm fully transparent with you guys. I tell you when I'm up, I tell you when I'm down. We had a very good run of about 6 weeks where we were really consistently winning and doing a really good job, but the last 7 days, not great. We are 11-14, down 1.65 units over the last 7 days. So here we go with the dance. Thursday and Friday, I told you I'm going to bet all 4 games today and all 4 games on Friday. Smart? We'll find out. Let's have some fun. Last night was not great. I had a couple of decent in-game live bets in the NBA that kind of saved me a little bit, but it was a down night for me. BYU got thumped. Oof. So did Texas A&M did the thumping of Wake Forest. 2 bets that were way wrong. And then we had a bit of a sweat, but Fresno State did not cover. That's good. Youngstown State covers the 13.5. So we come home with that. So it's a 1-2 night officially here. And now, as I said, 11-14, down 1.65 units over the last 7 days. So let's get to the Sweet 16. 4 plays for you guys coming up here today for the NCAA tournament. I have hemmed and hawed and gone back and forth on so many of these bets. So many of these games are coin flips. So whenever that happens, I mean, these are half unit bets 100%. Okay. I mean, 2 units in play. That's all I'm going to go and have in play today. I don't think I'll bet the NBA. Not sure if I'm going to bet any NHL. Probably just going to bet the 4 college basketball games, and that's it, because these games are tough, and I'm a little concerned about these picks. But before we get to the picks, let me tell you about our friends at Omaha Steaks. How about head coach Greg McDermott gets a new contract with the Creighton Blue Jays? Beautiful thing. Omaha's happy. Omaha's celebrating. Omaha Steaks is celebrating too with their site-wide semi-annual sale. Pretty cool stuff. 50% off these delicious steaks. 50% off your orders with fillets and desserts and more. You're going to omahasteaks.com, juice in the search bar. When you're there, you can buy the sampler, which is 50% off. If you buy that, though, they're going to give you 12 free Omaha steak burgers with your order. So that's pretty cool. 100% satisfaction guarantee. Omaha Steaks, leader in gourmet steaks and food since 1917. No one matching the flavor, tenderness, and value of Omaha Steaks. Visit omahasteaks.com today. Type juice in the search bar and enjoy 50% off site-wide with the semi-annual sale that's going on right now at omahasteaks.com. Keyword juice. All right. So I'll go in order of the games being played here for us in the NCAA tournament. Arkansas Gonzaga is the first game. This is going to be really interesting. Now, line is 9.5. KenPom has this as a 10-point win for Gonzaga. The Zags, I mean, have you seen some of their shooting percentages and what we've seen for some of their players, some of their top players? You know, it's an interesting deal because historically, I mean, this season, this is a really good shooting basketball team. And a team that should be scoring more than, 82 and even maybe more than 93 points like they have. They only beat Memphis 82-78. And in that game, it was kind of like, all right, what does Gonzaga look like as they move forward? Because shooting-wise, 9 of 27 from behind the three-point line. And Chet Holmgren, 0 for 3 from behind the three-point line. He didn't play well. 4 of 7, scored 9 points and 9 rebounds. Okay. Drew Timme had 25, which was big. Nembhard had 23, which was big. Their bench was non-existent, scored 2 points. They don't play a deep bench anyway, but I thought it was a little interesting that they've not seen typical Chet Holmgren type basketball games for a dude that was averaging over 14 points per game, grabbing nearly 10 boards per game. But so far, 19 against Georgia State, 9 against Memphis. Not great. This could be a big game for Chet, kind of a coming out party here, because there's going to be a massive size advantage in the paint for Gonzaga. The Zags so far this season, 15, 14, and 2 ATS, 8 and 7 on the road, 3, 6, and 1 though over their last 10. Arkansas has been an absolute barn burner here when it comes to crazy basketball games. They're 20 and 15, okay? 20 and 15. They have gone 5 and 5 over the last 10, 10 and 7 on the road. But Arkansas hasn't covered in their last 3 games, didn't cover against New Mexico State, didn't cover against Vermont, didn't cover against Texas A&M, did cover against LSU and Tennessee, but didn't cover against LSU in their final home game, didn't cover against Kentucky in their second to last home game. I mean, this team has only covered 2 times over the last 7 games. I think this is a blowout. I think Arkansas's run, I think their defense, I think they're going to make mistakes. I think Chet could have a big game. I think Timmy could have a big game. Big size advantage for Gonzaga here up against Arkansas. I like the Zags. I'm going to lay the 9.5. Gonzaga wins by double digits here, going away against Arkansas. They take care of business and advance to the Elite 8. Gonzaga, half a unit, laying the 9.5 points. All right. Game number 2 is Michigan and Villanova. So if you look at KenPom, for this game with Nova, 11th ranked in KenPom. They have this as a 5-point win for Villanova. What's the line? 5 over Michigan. All right. Here is a Nova team that's 18, 15, and 2 ATS. Away from home, they're 11, 9, and 2. Michigan 9 and 9. Number has been kind of ping-ponging around. It's 5, 4.5, 5. I think it's too light. I really do. I think this team, they beat Ohio State by 10, beat Delaware by 20, beat Creighton by 6, beat UConn by 3, beat St. John's, didn't cover that game, beat Butler by 19, beat Providence by 2, laying 10.5. Straight up, this team has won 7 consecutive games, and they've only lost 2 games dating back to the beginning of February. All right, this Nova team is very experienced. They're very difficult to beat. They're extremely well coached. And this stat from Fox Sports scared me a little bit, but I'm going to follow the trend just because undefeated team coaches, minimum of 10 games coached in the dance against seeds 11 or lower. Dean Smith, 14-0. John Thompson, 10-0. Jay Wright, 14-0. If Jay Wright wins this game against Michigan today, Jay Wright will become the all-time leader in coaches up against teams 11 seeded or lower in the NCAA tournament. Is that a jinx? Maybe. Or maybe you just follow the trend. I'm going to follow the trend. Jay Wright and company, they beat Michigan. I get the post play for Michigan is going to be very difficult. I think the magic runs out here a little bit for Michigan. They've covered 3 of their last 4. They've been playing really, really well. They beat Tennessee as 7-point dogs. They beat Colorado State as 1.5-point dogs. Point favorites. Lost to Indiana in the Big Ten tournament. But, I mean, this is a team that's been playing very, very well down the stretch. But they've won 3 of the last 5. I think this is where it comes to an end for Michigan here. I think the guard play for Nova is too experienced. The 3-point shooting is too experienced. Nova grinds it out. Villanova wins. I think they're going to win by double digits. I'm going to lay the 5. Villanova, -5 up against Michigan for a half a unit. Okay, those are 2 plays for us here. So first bet, 9.5, laying it with Gonzaga. Second bet, laying 5 with Villanova. Third game. And man alive, is this a hard game to bet. Texas Tech and Duke. I've gone back and forth. I think there's only 2 ways to bet this. Duke in the over, Texas Tech in the under. Okay? Because I would rather, and I'll personally go with the over, so you know where I'm going here. I will personally be on the over. I will have a bet on the over tonight. However, if you look at Duke with KenPom, they have this as a 1-point win for Texas Tech. Okay, Duke is catching 1 point. There's your line. Duke is a dog. Really rare for Duke to be an underdog. A lot of people are betting on Texas Tech. Okay. Total is 137. Again, leading over. Duke 18-16-2 ATS, 10-8 on the road, just 1-4 over the last 5 though for Duke against the number. Texas Tech, not much better, 22-14 on the year, but just 2-3 over the last 5 and 4-6 over the last 10-8 on the road this year away from home for Texas Tech. Beat Notre Dame by 6, 8-point dogs. Tech didn't cover. Killed Montana State by 35, laying 14.5. Lost to Kansas by 9 in the Big 12 tournament. Beat Oklahoma by 1, laying 7.5 points. They killed Iowa State in the first game of the Big 12 tournament when won by 31 points, but they lost to Oklahoma State on the road. Beat Kansas State just by 5, laying 13. Lost to TCU by 5. This is Coach K, neutral court this year, okay? Against Kentucky, laying 2.5, won by 8. Against Gonzaga, catching 8.5, won by 3. Going all the way to the ACC tournament. Against Syracuse, laying 15.5, they won by 9. Against Miami of Florida, laying 9, they won by 4. Against Vatech, laying 6, they lost by 15. Against Cal State Fullerton, laying 18.5, they won by 17. And against Michigan State, they were laying 6.5, and they won by 9. I think Duke showed me something at the end of that game in the final 3 minutes. I thought that was going to be puckering time, and they would go, oh my gosh, are we going to blow this? Are we going to lose this game for Coach K? And Tom Izzo is going to end our coach's career. Didn't happen with Izzo. I don't think Tech's the team to do it. I think Duke survives. I think Duke wins. It's going to be an absolute nail-biter, flip of a coin type of game. Duke wins and the over, or Texas Tech wins and the under. You can correlate it. You can parlay it. I think it's a decent way of playing it. I'm just going to stay away from potentially me being wrong and the game goes under and Duke wins by 2. Last second shot, something crazy. Look, referees and Duke and Coach K, it's a TV show. Duke, it would be crazy if we wind up seeing Duke and Gonzaga playing for a chance to go to the Final Four. Monster ratings. Yes, I do kind of factor that into handicapping. Unfortunately, Duke +1, taking the Blue Devils for a half a unit. And finally, a game that I equally am confused about, but I'm making a bet anyway. Houston and Arizona. This game, my goodness, this game. KenPom has Houston as the second best team in the country. Arizona number 3. They are right next to each other. But Arizona is favored. KenPom has got this as a 1-point win for Houston. Okay. I don't know what to make of this. To be completely frank, this is tough. Okay. Arizona laying 1.5. It's 19-15-2 Arizona versus 24-12 Houston. Houston 9-1 over the last 10, 5-0 over the last 5, 5-5 Arizona against the spread, 2-3 over the last 5. Arizona, though, 11-7-1 away from home, ATS. Houston, 13-6. Houston has covered their last 5 games, all neutral site games. They have won and covered. Illinois by 15, UAB by 14, Memphis by 18, Tulane by 20, Cincinnati by 13. Whew. This Cougar team's hot. Here's the problem. Much like Arkansas, Houston's got a problem in the paint. Arizona's got bigs. They got bigs on bigs, and Arizona can't dominate the glass against Houston because the Houston forwards can jump with the Arizona forwards. This game's going to be wild. It's in San Antonio. You're going to have a Houston crowd, Cougar crowd, okay? Cougar's going to be there. They're going to show out. It's going to be a tough environment for Arizona, but I think Arizona's going to travel. Because here's the thing. When you're one of the top teams in the country, you kind of assume your team's going to be in the Sweet 16. You don't buy the first 2 rounds. You buy the regional final tickets. You go ahead and say, okay, where are we? We're going to go ahead. So that's interesting, to me at least. It could neutralize how much of a home court advantage Houston could have here playing in San Antonio. Can't wait to see this game. It's going to be a very, very wild and entertaining basketball game. It's the last game of the night. I think it's going to be super close. I think it's going to be super fun. I'm going to lay the 1.5 points. I'm going to hope it doesn't burn me. It's minus 125 on the money line. If you want to skip that and just take money line, you can do that. I don't know if we're going to need it. I know this should be tight. I'm not saying this is a foolproof, go with it. My first read on this was to take Houston, and then I looked a little bit deeper, and I don't like Houston's size. I think Arizona's going to have a big size advantage down low. Lay the 1.5 with the Wildcats. Half a unit. Arizona, minus 1.5. Okay? So, we're going minus 9.5. Gonzaga up against Arkansas. We're going Nova, minus 5 up against Michigan. We're taking Duke, +1 up against Texas Tech. And we're going to lay the 1.5 with Arizona up against Houston. Quick little fun stat from Frankie Tadeo from SI Gambling, who gave me this stat yesterday, which I like a lot. Straight up, over the last 2 years, the higher seeded team has gone 11-5 straight up, but 8-8 against the spread. Which 8 teams are going to win and cover? That's the question. Kind of tough, right? 8 games a year. It's kind of tough. But Arizona and Duke, it's kind of like a pick 'em. Low spreads. Nova's minus 5. Zags minus 9.5. I think we're seeing Zags and Duke, Arizona and Nova into the Elite 8 here on a Thursday. My name is Matt Perrault. Follow me on Twitter @SportsTalkMatt. Each and every morning, it's the Daily Juice Podcast. Always being brought to you by BetMGM.